Hello, one more time. Vita here. Welcome to Hippie Crow Hub. We've got a bit of a messy angle this time, but I just want to get to work today. Remember this fabric? Okay, if you've seen this video, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't watch the video about cotton hippie tops made out of this beautiful fabric, they're just cotton blanket, I'm tagging the video in this video so you can track it down. So these tops sold out. I sold the ruffled ones and I sold the other simple ones that actually I didn't make a full video of. I only did like a short video and shared some photos. So, and funnily, the first ones that sold were not the ones with ruffles in the front, but the other ones. So I'm gonna make more of those tops because they're also faster and easier to make. And I have this whole piece of blanket and I wanna get it done because it's summer now. And if they're selling well, I gotta get to work. So there you go. Let's just get to work, I guess, you know? Let's just get doing. Okay, so it's gonna be slightly different shape than the ruffle one, so you might want to watch it. Okay, see you. Mwah, bye. To start, we are going to align our fabric in the best way possible so it's even on all the ends. And that center part that has a thicker fabric works perfectly for the tops that we are making. I'm using this blue top as a sizing reference, but I'm not copying exact shape of it. So now both ends of the blanket has double folded finished sides. So I'm gonna take advantage of that and I'm gonna make one top slightly different. It will connect in the center. So I'm cutting half a top on each end. So then I don't have to do the finishings on the sides of the top, but rather connect it in the center. And I'm just copying the size of the one that I already did. Now we're gonna cut out the neckline. This is a good chance to do a V-neck because since it's going to connect in the center anyway, it will be a lot easier to align it in a tidy way. Otherwise, V-neck can be slightly trickier than a round neck when you sew it. So now we've got the rest of the fabric in the middle. So I'm going to align this top in a normal way, flat opened. So now the top part, the shoulders, there will be no sewing involved because I already have the fabric folded. So I'm just cutting out the size, and this top I'm going to do a neckline, a high neckline, just opened to the sides. And also just aligning it to make sure that it's even on both sides. And this top number 2. So third top. So we are making the general idea the same. We are just maneuvering around to make small changes just for variation. So we're changing a little bit, maybe the size, the shape of a neckline. And this particular one, I'm going to cut out the underarms in case the completely square fit is not something that people are into. And once again, we're going to do a neckline. I'm going to do high on the back. And the front, I'm aiming to make it somewhat oval. So I'm just giving myself a rough shape here. And then after, I'm going to open it up and then I will fix it up to make sure that it's definitely even. So here we go. We're going to fold it, align it, and just tidy up those uneven bits a little bit. And you have to remember that the neckline is going to become bigger once I do an overlock and I single fold it and stitch it again. So it's gonna expand. So we don't wanna overdo and make it too big. And this is the very last one. So now I didn't even cut the sides at all because I'm using up the rest of the fabric. So in that one blanket, the amazing fit is the 4 tops. So this one I'm gonna go with a square neckline, and I'm gonna do the same front and back just in case people wanna switch front and back and they not care about it. Also, just for variation, it's nice to have a slight cut in the back too. So now the entire bottom of this fabric, I folded it in 4 layers, but of course you don't have to do it. I'm just like trying to fit it in the space that I have for the camera. So just tidying up the edges. So this entire fabric will become our ruffling fabric because we are adding ruffles in the bottom. So in this situation, I'm cutting out those ends that are double folded because I'm going to do a single fold on all the sides of the ruffling fabric. And I'm gonna remove that thicker, more dense fabric in the bottom, which is not the most decorative, but I'm going to keep that fabric and probably use it for something else. And I'm splitting it right in the center to make sure that the amount of fabric actually ruffles. And also this width is more perfect for what I'm trying to do here. But of course, there's no right or wrong. You can even add a long fabric and turn it into a dress or a way longer top. So now I have 4 long lines, but because I have 4 tops and I need 2 for each, so that's 8, I'm going to cut them in half. And this is just a tiny waist that I have left. It is time to set up my overlock. And now that all the pieces are cut out, what I'm going to do is go over with the overlock, the serger machine, every single piece all the way around, including the neckline. Because of this fabric, I want to single fold only for finishing the edges, not double fold. So the overlock is really helpful because this fabric is quite delicate, and to keep the ends tidy and secure, we do need the overlock. And yes, you can do the zigzag too if you don't have overlock. That is totally fine. But for this particular situation, I really think that overlock is needed. But if you don't have overlock and if zigzag doesn't work, you can do double fold. I have done that before too, and it works perfectly fine. That is not a big deal. So there's definitely options. And again, when you do have extra sewing machine and you can choose, you just make decisions depending on what type of fabric you're working and what kind of result you're aiming to get. So it is totally fine. So there you go. I am splitting those lines, the ruffling lines, and going over all the way around to make sure that I have 8 of them. And this is how it looks after I did the overlock. As you can see, the fabric is really fragile on the edges, and if I would fiddle too roughly with it, it could start fraying it too much. But now it is secured and looks very neat and tidy. It's definitely going to be easy to work with. And here is the little waist that I get from the machine when I do overlock. So when I cut my shapes, sometimes I don't do absolute perfectly straight lines. So then once I do the overlock, it really finishes it all up. But let's take a little coffee break, And now it is time to do a single stitch. So I'm going to start by single folding and sewing a running stitch all around the necklines of all the tops. So there you go. I just turn one time and press it down and sew. And I'm maneuvering this with left hand because I'm holding the camera with the right hand. But just wanted you to see the close-up. It's pretty simple. Now for this part, I need 2 hands. Definitely. Okay. And I'm definitely figuring out here what to start with. I was trying to be efficient in what I do first to give myself more straightforward way and time efficient way to sew these tops. So the planning does help with time management. So here, this is the top where it connects in the center. So I am doing the neckline first, and then after I'm going to connect it together. So the sewing process of this particular top that has a split in the center is slightly different than the other 3, because also this top has the sides already double folded and there's no need to sew it. So there's few minor differences in the order of what I sew, but again, there's no wrong way of doing this. You can figure it out in any way that you want. I'm just sharing the process that kind of makes sense for me. So here we are. We connected the back of the top, and now that we connected it, I am also pressing down the stitch from the inside and going over one more time to kind of secure it and to make it flat. I just find it a lot more neat that way. Then we have no bulging. So now connecting the center of the top and doing the same thing as we open it and press it down and sew one more time. I also try to cut away my thread right away as I do it, because later it becomes really tricky to find all the strings because some of them get stuck to the fabric and you can't see it, and then later you find it randomly and it becomes quite annoying. So I try to do all the trimmings right away. Saves me time later. So now I'm going to use these lines for the ruffling fabric, and I'm going to, again, single fold and do a running stitch on the short sides and one end of the long bottom, because the top part, one side is going to connect to the top and is gonna tuck in anyway, so I don't need to single fold, because if I do single fold that, it will become thicker and I don't want that. So there we go. Usually just pin the sides and then the middle, and I keep working over and over the middle and the middle and the middle. That way I distribute the fabric evenly, and then when I sew, I just fold little bits by bits from the needle to the needle, so that way my ruffling is pretty even. And you don't have to add that many pins. I was trying to do that for the first top just to make sure I'm doing it all right. Okay, we're gonna prepare the second line of ruffles for the other side of the same top. And I'm trying not to fast forward too much of what I'm doing, because sometimes people do say I couldn't see anything, it was going too fast, and it is harder to reverse that. And you know, if the video is slightly slower and is showing more of the same, and if for you it feels unnecessary, you can always fast forward or skip that part, because you know, you have the choice to do that. But if I don't add that in, you don't have the option. So there you go. So we're gonna pin it on the other side. Again, this is pretty much the same process, just in case you wanted to see it again. And this side, I'm definitely pinning a little bit less because my confidence grew. Also, this top, the bottom, one side was just slightly longer than the other, accidentally. So I did fix that later, and I trimmed that little bit that's sticking out, and it all got sorted. So as you can see, I'm sewing and folding and sewing and folding. And removing the pins at the same time. And once that is done, I'm going to show you in a minute that I do another line of running stitch on top of the top, also to press down and secure that stitching on the inside. So there you go. I'm flattening it out now and pressing that stitch on the other side and making one straight line on the top. It actually kind of looks neater with that stitch, even visually from the front. And there we go. So we're gonna do the same on both sides, and the top is pretty much done. One more thing to do is the tie-ups. Now, again, you could easily just stitch the sides if that's what you wanted, but I love the idea of tie-ups on the tops. Lately, it's just been a thing that I find it very cute. So we are going to add 4 strings in each side. So that's 8 strings altogether. And you can add as many as you want. You can add 1 ribbon on each side, or you can add 3 on each side. It's totally up to you. And this is how it looks after we sewed the neckline of another top too. So like I said, I started the first sewing that I did with all of the tops is the neckline. So these other 3 tops will have exactly the same sewing process, even though the neckline shape is slightly different. And this is how it looks after it's done. Just single fold and running stitch. So now that the neckline is complete, this one I haven't done yet, but there you go. I'm going a little bit back and forth here. I think I've forgotten which video came first, which clip was which one, but it doesn't really matter. You get the idea. And there we go. It's all complete now. Now we have to add the ruffles on all of the 3 tops. So now, just to note, the sides and the shoulder ends are not going to get single folded and sewn yet. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because we're gonna do all of the other sides at the same time after we add the ruffling. So right now, we are going to pin the ruffle fabric onto the tops without doing a single fold at all yet. Because after the ruffles are sewn onto the top, we are going to do a single fold and running stitch all the way around all of it. The shoulders, the sides, the bottoms of the ruffles, and all the way around the world at the same time, if that makes sense. So the more I sew, the more I try to plan ahead and make it as time efficient as possible. So that would give me kind of going around in a circle in a one circle way, if that makes sense, instead of going across the circle back and forth and trying to do little bits on opposite ends of the circle, if that makes sense. So that would be a lot neater and a lot more time efficient. I'm also gonna do the straps at the same time. I am adding these straps before I am sewing it, as I'm folding it. And here are the beautiful tops. I love how they turned out. This fabric seriously has been like the best thing that happened to me. I can't believe it took me so long to sew with this fabric, but at this point it is all I've had. So if I make similar types of tops again, it will have to be different type of fabric. Now luckily the other ones sold pretty fast, so this was my cue to get it done and use up the rest of the fabric. And I sewn all of these tops in one day, and I'm very pleased how they all turned out. They look very neat and very cozy. Perfect summer item, great for summer sun cover up. Even if you're on the beach and you want to cover up your shoulders a little bit, or just walking around town, they're very breathable. They are just so perfect in my understanding. Yeah, and I think this video is coming closer to an end. Please let me know which neckline you like most. Is it the straight line? Is it the V-neck? Is oval or a square? And let me know if you would like to try and sew one of these again. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments, likes. If you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe. You can also watch the other video with the ruffled in the front tops that I've made before if you haven't seen it yet. If you have seen it, thank you very much for watching. And there's a new video every Monday at 10 a.m. Stay creative, keep on sewing, keep on crafting, and have a lovely week. See you. Bye, bye, bye.